I don't think it would be considered bangs if you just had like a guy with short hair.
Like Anuel has bangs though.
At what? That's a really good point. We should
I
ask
think
the
has
audience.
bangs, yeah.
At what point
Does this
is it considered
become bangs? He combs it forward. So what time? When does that become bangs?
Like, do they have to be lower on your forehead?
Let us know. Mm-hmm. Where does a bang line start?
Now we're asking the real questions.
She's a weird character.
I'm not gonna touch it.
Dude, it's so awesome that you work out all the time and stuff. Like, it's so inspiring. It's so motivating, but it's just not for me. Like, I'm not the type of person, like, I just don't work out. You know what I mean? Like, exercise is not for me.
I completely disagree.
Why? Exercise isn't for everyone. Or is it?
So the idea for this episode came about, like many of our other episodes, which is a member from our gym.
Oh.
In a dream. A member from our gym came up with it organically. So we're having a conversation, and she's talking about how hard it is to get up in the morning. And granted, it is hard to get up in the morning and like go get your butt kicked in the gym. And she was like, but it's so worth it. But it's not for everyone though. And I was like, wait, what? He's like, yeah, like exercise is not for everyone. A lot of people have determined like, no, it's just not for me. And I was like, I completely disagree. So I thought we can have a nice little friendly debate about that today where we argue both sides, or maybe you take the side of exercise is not for everyone and I argue against you.
Do I have to take that side? Because I don't agree.
You have to.
I'll fake it till
I'm
I make
forcing
it.
you.
I feel like that's like saying like eating healthy is not for everyone. Like, it's a choice and you're choosing the wrong one, but it is what it is. Like, you can pick and choose what format you like. Like, you don't have to fall into a specific workout or exercise.
But do you think that some people have come to terms with like, I'm just the type of person who's never going to exercise, and they rationalize that to themselves?
They've come to terms with it, but I don't think it's the right decision.
But if you were to ask them, they would still say, I know I should be exercising. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, well, either way,
dive into it.
Yeah, we're going to go deep into this.
As usual, I'm Victor. That's Julian. We're here in B-Fit Miami Lakes. It's in PSN in Miami. If you're in the area, come work out, have a coffee, have some laughs. Let's just have a good time. That's what we're all about here while seeing your fitness goals. Romaine. So let's get into it. First, let me jump on the side of the people that say working out isn't for them, even though I don't agree. But I'm going to kind of help them make their argument. We've seen it a lot here too. A lot of people that either get forced into exercise or try an exercise that might be too intense and they burn out or they build that resentment towards it. Let's say like you're a complete beginner and you get thrown into CrossFit and you injure your shoulder or you hurt your knee or something like that, and you just determine like, hey, look, exercise is too intense for somebody like me. Yeah, I tried. It's too intense for somebody like me. If I tried again, I'm just gonna get hurt. So why would I do that when exercise is supposed to make me feel good? It's supposed to make me all these positive things, and all I'm getting from it is negative consequences.
So this is the scenario of someone who, I gave it a shot and it didn't work, and so therefore exercise isn't for me.
Yeah, specifically this usually happens with people that were inactive as kids, or they just like want to try exercise and like, oh, I'm in my mid-30s, my 40s, never tried anything. Let me try this CrossFit class or something that my friend recommended, and it's a little too much, a little too intense. They either get too much soreness and they can't walk, they feel like they did too much, or even worse, they get hurt. And then they're out of commission for a bit.
I just want to like interrupt it because you're always picking on CrossFit. We did it in the last episode, and it's not that we have anything against CrossFit.
I've said it too.
You can literally go to any of these other studios where they thrust anyone into the class, and you have to do whatever the class of the day is, which is in most cases too intense for the average person. But it's just an easy example for everyone that everyone like gets it. Oh yeah, CrossFit's really hard.
I think in layman's, like in the eyes of the general population, it's the most intense like group class that you can do in a sense. So that's why we always talk about it. It's not that we're
got it. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, and it's let's be honest, the most complex. You're doing Olympic lifts. You're not doing that in any other of these like
100%
class by class.
I want to touch on something that you said that I think is the key to this, to that person, that avatar of this isn't for me, is the person that didn't grow up doing exercise or physically active or playing sports or nothing. They were the type of person that, because you build your sense of self as you grow, right? As you grow up. And if you didn't grow up doing that, then you become an adult who's like, you see fitness and like, that's like, oil to water. Like, doesn't that me and fitness, like we just
You're
don't
like scroll
vibe
past somebody
at
doing
all.
push-ups on Instagram right away.
That's just not me. That's not my thing. It never has been. And sadly, the only thing that gets people like that physically active is some sort of health scare or disease where they're like, now I have to do this.
And we see it all the time. Somebody comes to us in their mid-40s like, hey, I've never touched a weight, but the doctor says if I don't start working out, so-and-so's going to happen. I'm pre-diabetic, this and that, something along those lines. And like you said, it's unfortunate, but this is what pushes those those kids that grew up inactive into finally reaching out for help with their activity.
Yeah, and even then, even when they do, they still have internalized the idea that this isn't for me. This isn't for me. I'm
doing this forced. Yeah,
I'm like an imposter in that gym. These are all gym people, and I'm not. I'm more of an outsider here.
And then they'll try to like squeak in like, what's the minimum days I can do? You hear that a lot. It's like, that's not the attitude you want to have about it. You want to build that, like how we build calluses. You want to build that exercise callus. Just get over it. Get over that first hump, because we've seen it here too. After you get over that initial hump, these people that say exercise isn't for them, they kind of get it and they get into it.
Especially when they find the right place. But more often than not, the reality is that what happens with those people is they're secretly looking for any excuse to quit.
Yep.
Oh, I hurt myself a little? Done. Oh, something in my life, I got sick or whatever, I had to travel for work? Done.
Yep.
Anything where it's like, I fell off the wagon, it's very, very hard for them to get back on.
Yeah. COVID closed my gym. I guess I'm done working out. And it's like, no, you should still seek out some
Find
other
the
form
gym
of
that does it
exercise.
illegally like we did. Cut that part.
We got fined.
It doesn't matter, right?
What would you say to somebody that tells you like they have some barriers, like either physical limitations, time restraints, mental health struggles, and like, let's be honest, some days if you're struggling with mental health or something, it's hard to just get out of bed. So it's even harder to get out of bed, get dressed, go somewhere public, see people, or if you have some sort of, physical limitation, you're missing a leg, missing an arm, what have you. What would you say to somebody that tells you that? Like, hey, I don't work out because literally like life is kind of telling me, don't work out, stay home.
Would that be under the category of like exercise isn't for me? I guess so, right? Because if you're either disabled or you have...
Exercise isn't for me because at the end of the day, you can always do something.
Yeah, but
and we know that.
But we're arguing for that, so let's steel man the position.
Yeah, so, okay, these people, like I told you, if you're depressed, it's hard to get out of bed, harder to face people.
If you're depressed, I think like clinical depression is its own thing, and I have a healthy respect for it. Like I'm not the type of trainer or meathead that's like, you can always do it.
Yeah,
just get up and get out of bed. Like if you've known someone who actually has depression, you know that it's not that easy to even just get up out of bed, let alone, oh, I'm gonna go lift some heavy ass weights in a place that's super intimidating.
Or even worse, like I'm gonna go out and face the public and like everybody has to see me
in
and
this
they're
state.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're not those type of trainers at all.
Exactly.
And then if somebody tells you, hey, I used to work out, but like God forbid something happened to my foot and now I literally can't. Like I used to be a runner, now I can't run. So there goes the modality of exercise I liked. So now I can't work out.
That's a good point. Yeah, I'm trying to put myself before I just want to like rebuttal everything, right?
Attack me.
But I do want to like try my hardest to like empathize.
Fries?
Empathize? Exercise? I thought you said extra fries. Please cut this.
I'm done here.
I'm embarrassing myself. Empathize.
Emma, can you take over?
Empathize.
I'm done. Okay, I'm back with coffee. That makes
Anyway,
everything
I was
better.
making a good point.
Yeah, go on.
E-word with them,
Yeah.
you know?
Have some empathy for them.
Yeah, because you really never know what somebody else is going through, right? And like I said, I'm thinking maybe maybe it's not the kid that grew up not physically active or whatever. Maybe it's somebody who did work out, but now is going through a slump. Maybe like life has put them in certain situations where now they're mentally and physically not willing to do something like that. So they're just like, this just isn't for me. Maybe it was back in the day, but just isn't anymore. So, I want to make sure that we respect somebody like that before we just go in and like
Attack them and
attack
chastise
that,
them.
that standpoint.
In the similar vein, I think falls the people that say they don't have enough time. So like a single mom who's working 2 jobs and gets home exhausted, and she's like, exercise, it just doesn't fit into my schedule. So therefore, I'm not the type of person that exercises. I just don't have time.
Okay, and that is something that I agree with. I do think that some people legitimately don't have time. And I also would say to somebody like that think of it as a seasonal thing, right? It doesn't have to be exercise isn't for me. It's just at this period of my life when I'm going through medical school and I have a part-time job or whatever, or I'm a single mom or single dad, then yeah, I legitimately don't have time because from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep, and then I'm exhausted. I'm busy and I'm exhausted. So that's fair. That's fair. But I would still say that it's a seasonal thing. It's a period of my life. It's not I'm doomed forever and I'm just like, exercise isn't for me.
Yeah.
You know?
And let me stop playing devil's advocate for a second here and give that person some advice. If you're that crunched for time, maybe try, 5-10 minutes 5 to 10 minute, something pretty intense. You can just kind of jump into something like that, just so you can kind of get your body moving, maybe a mobility flow. It doesn't have to be, like we always say here, it doesn't have to be a structured hour program. Try to jump into something small, and I think that's a good.
But I would, refute that. Refute? God,
You suck today.
my English sucks today. It's my second language.
Say it in
folks.
Spanish.
No. So my rebuttal to that would be that, you know how you ever heard this thing where like the more well off you are, the more of a privilege you have to like worry about shit that like people in a developing country would be like, oh, must be nice to worry about like feeding your dog, Whole Foods, when I'm just trying to survive out here, man.
I'm trying to eat myself.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's
first
like
world problems, Julian.
I would say that if you're the type of person who's living in like poverty or has like, it's like the last thing you're thinking about is let me make sure I have a nice, good
For sure.
exercise routine,
For
or I
sure.
start smart. Like they're not even listening to this podcast. They're worried about I need to make more money. I need to feed my kid. I need to figure out a way to like move up in life so that I'm taken care of. Those are like primal fears. I think that exercise is a luxury,
Okay.
So there are certain people who are like, I'm not even in a position to even think about my health, as bad as that sounds, because I'm just grinding away.
Okay, now let me add a little spice into that. What would you say if somebody's in that position and they're grinding and they're trying to, like every single moment of their life is consumed by their work or taking care of their kids or something and they don't have time for real, but then they get the health scare? Does that bump it up as a priority? Does it still fall to the wayside? Do you stop caring for yourself to care for the others in your life?
I mean, obviously it's on a case-by-case basis, but that's when people are thrust into like, I have to make this change because now if I want to continue like being, a dad or a parent or a mom, then I have to at least like start eating healthier. But it usually starts with the food, right? Because if you don't have any time, then at least you can make an attempt to eat healthier, but you still don't have time to work out. And we're talking about exercise here.
Yeah, and then if you're talking about eating, like you mentioned earlier, I think eating healthy is another luxury. Let's be honest, it's cheaper to eat Hamburger Helper or something like that.
Especially in the United States, because I can make an argument that if you live in like Costa Rica, even the poor people there, are eating something that was grown
natural,
maybe locally.
Yeah, they're eating natural
maybe.
fruits.
That's my guess anyway.
I think most of our viewers are from America, so that's what I'm just saying.
No way, dude. 0.7% of them are from
India?
Bangladesh.
I love our Indian population.
Shout out. All right, so now let's argue against the claim. So exercise is for everyone.
So you're gonna attack me.
Let me first start by saying that everything we just talked about, that hadn't even come to my mind before I wrote the script for this, right? So I never thought about the person in poverty. I never thought about the person in a developing country. But let's get that out of the way, because if you're listening to this, if you have that luxury to listen to podcasts and be in a country like this, odds are you're not that person. So let's assume you're not that person. Because if you are that person, you have, it's a completely different argument.
Yeah,
here.
you have a lot of stuff going on.
It's it's a different thing. But I really strongly believe that that's a ridiculous claim. Exercise is not for everyone.
How so?
That is such a cop-out for you being lazy and you just don't want to exercise because it's hard, The reality is that, so first point is exercise doesn't have to be whatever your idea of exercise is. We talk about this a lot. It's not being a meathead at the gym 6 days a week, getting all these muscles, being a bodybuilder, eating out of Tupperware. Exercise could be something like more non-traditional, like dance is exercise. I'm going around and running after your kids. I'm going around and running after your kids, at the park for an hour is exercise. What?
How you said it? How you said it? I'm going around and chasing after your kids. Please don't.
I said I'm?
You said I'm going around and chasing after your kids. Please
Go
don't.
to the park and chase after other people's kids.
Yeah, please don't.
But if you're like riding your bike to work, which someone was talking about this morning, all those kinds of things are exercise. So you don't have to look at it as like, traditional exercise, whatever that means, cardio and strength training, I guess in this sense, is not for me. Fine, maybe it isn't, but maybe you like to do martial arts or you like to dance or something like that, or you like to do yoga. Find something, but I don't think that you should be like allowing yourself to get away with that mindset of it's not for me. Because like we said, sooner or later, that thought process is gonna bite you in the ass and you're gonna realize probably a little later in life that, man, I should have been exercising and I was holding myself back with this mindset.
Oh yeah. And it's definitely a mindset thing because like we all know exercise is hard and it's harder for some people.
It doesn't have to be. I don't think it has to be.
I think it's
It's
definitely
harder than sitting on the couch.
for sure, but I also think it's harder on some people than others, based on a personality type.
But what if you're just walking?
What if you're just walking? What if you don't like? What if you're missing a leg?
No. But no, we're not talking about the leg guy.
We're
We're
gone
talking about
again?
the lazy person.
We're talking about the lazy person. Okay,
Yeah, like
look
the
at
average
that.
American. That's
That's
what
a
we're talking
Cagney
about.
singer.
Is that a baby? Huh. We got ourselves a little bit of a mystery here.
All right, guys, we're gonna
Let's
step outside of the camera. Let's go.
interrupt the
Let's go walk.
podcast.
Let's go walk out there. Look at that person.
Hold on a second. I think it's.
Oh, it's
is that
fascinating.
an old man?
I don't know. Looks like an old rocker.
Looks like the lead singer of of Alice Cooper.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Is it Alice Cooper himself?
Alice Cooper himself. Yeah, it's Alice.
Doesn't help our cause that the guy's name is
It's
a
Alice.
woman's name.
Yeah, that's crazy. Oh, here we go.
Here we go, baby.
So as I was saying, the mindset also varies from person to person, and I don't think anybody can argue the fact that it's harder on some people mentally. Some people enjoy how they feel when they exercise. Some people are driven by their guilt, and that forces them to exercise. Other people don't have that. For example, I don't have any exercise-related guilt or food-related guilt.
For example.
I.
God, it must be nice, man.
So I'm fine with sitting on the couch and eating like shit for a day.
You're
like,
also thin.
thanks.
You know
I'm
what
a
I'm
thimble.
saying? No, but for real.
No, I agree. But some people have that without being thin. And I think that is not a good, don't get me wrong, I'm not arguing for it. Again, I'm here playing devil's advocate.
Okay.
I think it's definitely like some people, like, oh man, if I don't work out, I feel like shit. That's a blessing, honestly. I think that's a blessing to have that
me.
mentality because that forces you to be consistent. And if you don't have that, you can go 1 day, 2 days, and that we know that leads to a week, 2 weeks, and all of a sudden you don't work out. If you don't have that lack of guilt.
My argument to somebody like that is, again, like we can talk, this whole podcast could be about mindset because that's really what this is. It's a mindset
100%.
thing. But let's toss that to the side. It would be, oh, exercise is hard. It doesn't have to be. We talk about it. We're not going to tell you again what we talk about of starting small, 5 to 10 minutes a day. But it doesn't have to be that hard. It could be as simple as walking around the block a few times, walking your dog, something simple. Because the more ingrained in this mindset that this isn't for me, you are, the more that you have to take it very, very small steps at a time, So I would argue you don't have to. It's not super hard in the beginning. Now, is it harder than doing nothing? Well, yeah, but come on, like everything's harder than doing nothing,
But that's like we live in such a hectic world and such a hectic day to day that I can definitely see somebody being like, oh, I'll work out tomorrow, and then tomorrow comes and like, oh man, I don't have time, and that leads to a slippery slope of somebody that just doesn't work out, or like they'll work out once a week, and is that even like worth anything?
Yeah, but like we always said, you can always find some time, and I don't mean it in a toxic, wake up at 4 a.m., even if you're working 14-hour days. No, not like that, but you can always find some time. Like, are you on TikTok? Are you on Instagram? Do you spend any time doing these things that you could take that time and do a 5 to 10 minute mobility routine? You can, but again, the person that is struggling like this, they don't think like that. They're not hyper efficient about the way that they use their time.
Yeah, like I know somebody that's going to medical school and she's an avid lifter, and while she's on the treadmill, she's reading her medicine books. So,
which, let's face it, that's like the
1%.
5%
Yeah.
of the world. There's a reason that you're becoming a doctor.
Yeah.
So okay, let me put on now my my coaching hat and be
bangs.
a little bit tougher with this person who claims that exercise is not for them. Okay, I would say something like, do you floss your teeth, for example?
Hell no, I don't even brush my teeth. No, I'm just kidding, of course.
Right, I floss my teeth too. Do you like flossing your teeth? Is this
Yeah,
something that you really look
I
forward
actually
to?
do.
Okay, maybe that's a bad example, but most people don't.
It feels good.
Most people don't. The dentists have to be like, oh, floss your teeth, right? But you still do it, right? So my argument is, you're an adult. You don't have to like everything that you do, okay? And I think this is the mentality of, I have to enjoy this, I have to enjoy that. Yes, find the form of exercise that you find somewhat enjoyable, but at the end of the day, I think you should have the mindset of, this is really good for me. Like if you're any forward-thinking type of person at all, then you're gonna think, okay, what can I do today that's gonna make tomorrow better, that's gonna make me healthier, that's gonna make me feel better. And it's like, exercise is like one of the top 3 things that you can do. So my argument would be like, yeah, maybe you don't love it. Suck it up.
You know what?
You still have to do it.
To add to that, it's like waking up every morning for work. We've all, literally every single person listening to this has woken up and gone, what if I just don't go to work today? Like, what if I just stay in bed? But 99% of the time, you suck it up and you go to work. It's the same thing. You're going to work because you need money for the future.
But that's a need and not a want. You can get away with not exercising. It's very hard to get away with not working.
Exactly. So
and that's the difference.
If you view it the same way, like this is something I have to do because future me will thank me for it.
Well, that's a mindset thing now. We're talking
back
about
to mindset.
Nobody thinks about it as, well, not nobody. Like most people that are struggling, they don't think about it as this is something I need to do. It's like, this is something I should do.
Yeah.
And that's a very different thing.
A huge difference. And I think that just goes a long way to tell yourself, this is something I need to do. Is a huge, 100%. Just like a brain flip.
And I would also say when you bring up the work example, the analogy there is the reason why we exist, personal trainers and studios like us, is you have an appointment. Now all of a sudden it's not, I know I should go work out, but no, your trainer is there waiting for you. You will get charged if you don't show up. So now all of a sudden it's from want or should to I have to get up
obligation.
And go. And that's literally why we exist.
And the people that don't follow that, the people that like cancel once a week or twice a week, we see them all the time. They fall off the wagon. They come back to us 2 years later, more overweight or more at a health risk than before. So we've seen it all, folks. We've seen that person.
But it goes to show how strong that mentality is, that even when people are paying a lot of money for a trainer, they can't shake that identity crisis.
Back of their head.
Or I'm still not the type of person. Like this is an optional thing. Oh, I'm gonna go when I have time. You know, it's a very stressful period in my life. I can't do it right now, or I missed a few weeks. So what's the point? They can't shake that, even though they're paying us a lot of money.
We have people here that show up. They're here, mind you, and they're like, really didn't feel like coming today. Like that's every single day is the same thing. Yeah, every single day is like, God, my bed was really comfortable today.
She's the one that came up with this idea.
Like my bed was really comfortable. What if I just stay in bed? Like, but kudos to her. She pushes past that.
Exactly, and she's dealing with physical pain, which is something that we didn't quite talk about, but that is a pretty legitimate excuse to say, no, I don't want to move my body. My body hurts.
Yeah.
But she knows, she's a believer because she's experienced it, that exercise is actually going to help with the pain. And then, like I always say, do you want to be in pain and weak, or do you want to be in pain and strong, capable, empowered?
Yeah. And possibly not in pain. We've seen these pains go
you'll
away.
Get fixed.
We're not BS trainers that are going to tell you, we're going to fix your sciatic pain and we're going to fix this. It might improve. Sometimes these things help. Sometimes the exercises help. The mobility helps. Sometimes it doesn't. But like you said, you're healthier. You look better. You feel better. Maybe not in the sciatic part, but you feel better overall. And I think that's worth.
Plus, we know with the lifting community, everybody has some sort of pain. And what we've noticed is that it's seasonal. We come up with a pain. Oh, my shoulder's been hurting. Like my shoulder's been hurting. And it's like, you deal with it, you address it, you maybe avoid certain things that hurt, you continue working out, because for me, it's not an option to stop working out. And guess what? In a month, my shoulder doesn't hurt anymore, you know?
And
especially if you're doing like a good program.
I'd rather have shoulder pain or knee pain or something like that than cardiovascular disease or...
Than living off of pills and dragging yourself around when you're super obese.
So pick your pain, I guess.
100%. That's a great point, is the pain of the exercise that you do daily or the really bad
long-term
pain of
repercussions.
Being sick, overweight, diseases, going to the hospital. Who likes to go to the hospital?
I've never been to the hospital. Well, I did. It broke my finger once.
Anyway, it's a really good thing to consider, but I think that
it takes a lot of forward thinking.
We can nail all the ailments of society to I choose today
and mindset,
instead of
the future.
Delayed gratification. That's really what it all comes down to. It's like, well, you said it yourself. I feel like staying in bed today. I feel like watching Netflix today.
Yeah.
I feel like having the ice cream right now. I'm not thinking about 60-year-old Julian, with grandkids. I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking about today. I want these things because they feel good.
I always make for me, it's a joke how I say it, but I always make the joke of, damn, future Vic is going to hate me when I leave the dishes there and I don't do them, or future Vic's going to hate me. That's a lot of laundry. Something like that.
Yep.
These things that I don't, like I could do it now, but I'm going to leave it for future Vic because that guy.
And let's be honest, the person that thinks about the future, that's an unnatural thing. And if you look at us from an evolutionary standpoint, which I bring up in every podcast, the old
Darwin over here.
The old version of humans, we didn't think about the future. It was like
survive.
That's why we have this drive to eat as much as you can. Like if you find some berries, eat them all, because you don't know when you're gonna find the next berries, right? I think people like me are weird. Like people make fun of me because I'm thinking so much about future Julian, like especially when it comes to investing and stuff like that. I'll sacrifice now for the future
Yep.
version of myself. So I don't think that's a natural thing. I think it's something that needs to
not.
be taught.
And also, you don't want to go too far into that because that's when you
Yup.
form anxiety. You start putting these ideas in your head that, oh, what if this or this is going to happen? And it might never happen. So you got to teeter the line of learning from your past, looking into the future and making moves to improve your future self while also staying in the present, which is not something that's easy.
100%.
While not giving yourself instant gratification, because that usually doesn't lead to a good place.
But you also have to understand that anyone who's ever achieved anything of greatness has the ability to delay gratification. And that's
100%.
a fact, right? So you have to understand that, okay, if I just give in to all my wants and desires, I'm cooked.
Yeah,
like, I'm going to
super.
have no money. I'm going to be in debt. I'm going to be fat. I'm going to be unhealthy.
Masturbator, chronic masturbator.
Exactly. So you have to be, I mean, I'm sorry, but like, grow up. You know, seriously, some people need to grow up and like, you're an adult. You need to think about the future. You need to think about like, the older you are, the more you should be thinking about like delayed gratification. You give a toddler, like you give my daughter all the donuts and she's gonna eat as much of them as she can, right?
Yeah.
But you're not a toddler, you know?
Hopefully.
So
if you're a toddler listening to this, by the way, subscribe, click the link, shout out. No, but I agree with you. That's a really good point. And the grow up thing is funny, but it's like thinking about it.
I know it's harsh.
No, but it's like thinking about it in your job. Like, do you want to stay in your dead end job forever, or do you have plans to advance? Do you want a promotion? Do you want a better job? Like, think of your life, your whole life in that spectrum, and I think that's gonna improve how you act in your day to day.
Yeah, for sure. And understanding what we said like 10 minutes ago, which is you will get sick. It's only a matter. It's not a like.
And don't throw your one example of me or your grandma that chain smoked cigarettes and ate trans fat. And she lived till she was 90.
Oh my God.
Okay, that's one person. Like
that's one person, and in an era where food was a little bit healthier, even though they were eating high fat
and they walked more. They're overall
more physically active.
More physically active. They didn't have as much TV, so like.
Yeah, you got to look at where the trends are in this day and age. We're getting cancer at a much younger rate. People are dying, you know, at younger rates, especially if they eat unhealthy. The obesity rate is off the chart. So you can't compare those people that are 95 right now. They lived in a completely different era. But anyway, I digress. I want to talk about one of the like rebuttals to this is that too much talk about discipline. Like even what we've just said, this like kind of harsh talk, like, you know, overly disciplined to someone who's unmotivated. I feel like that can sometimes
them
completely. Like they're like, oh no, let's talk about discipline and like you have to get up and crush it and this and that. Like no. Like I'm not even gonna like entertain that idea because I'm so far removed from that.
Yeah.
What would you say to that?
I would say as a trainer and as a friend, because that's what I am to all of you guys, is just take it one day at a time because that's what works for somebody like me. Take it one day at a time. You wake up today and like, let me check my time. Oh, today I have a time slot at 6 p.m. I'll squeeze in something at 6 p.m. It's not something so daunting if you're looking at it on your day to day. If you're thinking about it like, man, I gotta be dedicated for the rest of my life, or man, I have to really do this hard workout 3 or 4 times a week. Ugh, it's like the Sunday scaries for the rest of your life.
Okay, so let me ask you something about that, which I completely agree with what you're saying, by the way. But what if you're taking it one day at a time, and today you did it, you worked out, but then tomorrow you didn't? What gets you back on the next day? Because I feel like that's when you need the spark of, sure, I didn't do it yesterday. Because people like this, what they'll do is, I fucked it up. Yeah. I didn't do it yesterday.
I'm not gonna do it
my
all.
whole thing.
Yeah.
Then those are the people that will binge for the whole weekend, even though it's only Friday, right? So what is it that gets you the next day where like, it's a new day, I can do this today, I can make time to exercise?
I mean, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but it's the mindset. It's the looking into the future and saying, oh, okay, yesterday I didn't do it, but because I gave myself that luxury. And I think that should be like, that's how you look at it. I gave myself the pass to not do it yesterday, but that means that today I have to. It's like,
I feel like those people are very hard on themselves, and that's when they're primed to like beat themselves up the next day. I'm worthless. Oh, you see, I knew I couldn't do this yesterday. I binged, I gave in. I knew I could. So then it's harder the next day to just get that workout in like you planned.
Again, back to the analogy of work. It's like, okay, you miss a day of work. Let's say you just don't feel like going in because of your mental health, or you just don't feel like going in one day, whatever. You take a day off. You took the day off. Are you really going to take the next day off? Like, eso es un descaro. Me perdona, but that's, like, you just can't do that. Like, so you have to tell yourself it's a similar concept.
I'm trying really hard to put myself in those people's positions. And I know it's gonna resonate with them when they listen to this. Like, yeah, he gets me. Like, I am the type of person that beats myself up.
Yeah, and
self-sabotage and all that.
What I tell my clients, myself, my friends is, it's okay to take a day off. It might even be okay to take 2 days off. If you're taking more than 2 days off, you're cooked.
I love that rule of yours of never take more than 2 days off. And by the way, James Clear says the same thing.
Nice, James.
I think he says one, but like the habit you're trying to build, never take more than that, because that's a slippery slope.
It's a slippery slope. 2 days, and especially with how we live nowadays, that the 24-hour news cycle, everything's always refreshing. Our brains are kind of refreshing every day. You miss 2 days, and it's like, wait, did I work out yesterday? Oh, and you go down that little, oh no, I don't think, I did 2 days without it, and I feel okay. I'm not gonna turn it to 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months. Now you're the person that doesn't work out.
Yep.
So if you're building that habit of working out and you miss today, the next day just tell yourself that this is what I'm trying to become. Like, this is what I want to be. This is what I want to improve. Whatever got you started, just remind yourself of that day. Whether it's a vanity goal, I don't care what your goal is, vanity, health, whatever it may be. Remind yourself of that, and that's why people put like their wallpaper of like what they used to look like or what they want to look like, something motivating, because it's a slippery slope. If you forget, if you miss 1 day, it's a hard thing to get back on.
Yeah, and I would also add to that is have a good support system, because you know it's going to be an uphill battle, and the more support and accountability you have from other people, the better your chances are.
That's why when a good trainer comes in and checks in on you, even if you're not training with them still, they check in on you. They ask you, hey, how you feeling today? All right, go for a walk, get some movement in. Here's a mobility circuit. You can do a YouTube link. It's that easy. It's just having somebody in your corner.
It's funny because sometimes you have to, and it's frustrating as a trainer, sometimes you have to be kind of harsh with people, and tell it to them like it is. For example, yesterday we're doing this challenge, and a few people in the chat are talking about, this is so hard, and donuts, and pizza, and wine, and why did I even join this challenge? That's when you have to remind them, this is why you joined the challenge. Because sorry to
interrupt. I wrote that yesterday. I wrote, if you're thinking like this, that's why you joined. And I deleted it. I was like, I don't want to be an ass.
I know. And I asked my wife, I'm like, is this too harsh? But I honestly think it wasn't harsh enough. It's like, this is why you're doing it, because you're so fixated on the rewards of what got you in trouble in the first place, what gets you fatter and what gets you unhealthier, that, man, even the challenge clearly isn't enough for you. You have a trainer, you have a challenge, and you're still talking about pizza and this. And oh my God, I can't wait until I have the wine and the pizza. It's like, dude, you clearly need the challenge. Yeah. This is why you're doing the challenge.
This is why. Like, if you're asking,
what do you mean, why am I doing the challenge? Yeah. This is why you're doing the challenge. You need it, Yeah. So anyway, my advice to somebody like that would be, this mindset of exercising for me is a lie. It's a flat out lie. That little voice in your head is a liar. That's what I would say. Sometimes. Because you've told yourself that story. That doesn't mean that's a true story. Yeah. I can show you 1,000 case studies of why that's not a true story, of people that were exercise isn't for me, and all of a sudden they're running marathons,
or they found something.
They jump on a stage of a bodybuilding competition. Yep. They flipped the switch, and then we're like, no, I'm gonna prove to myself that exercise is for me.
Look at the clients that we've had that haven't ever worked out in their life, started at 40, and now, man, I can't go a day without it because it helps my mental health.
Exactly.
You never know how it's gonna affect you once you actually get into that routine. So you're right. You're lying. What's that called? That phenomenon that if somebody tells you a lie, it's not gaslighting. There was an older term for it. That I can convince you something if I tell you the lie enough. That's what you're doing to yourself.
Yeah, kind of like what they do in colds and stuff. Right? Like brainwashing.
If I lie to you enough, like, I'm gonna believe exercise isn't for me. But if you tell yourself, like, hey, I can do it little by little, every day, little by little, I can do it. If somebody, like you said, is in your corner telling you, little by little, you can do it, that is a tremendous help.
Yeah, I find it helpful, but again, I don't fall into that category, so I have to think not like Julian, because I've always been the type of person who exercises, but sometimes, and this is why I hate the listen to your body thing, sometimes your body just tells you, not today, man. I don't want to work out, I'm tired, this and that. And the people that have made this a lifestyle, they'll just say, I don't care what you tell me.
Yeah.
I don't care what I tell myself. Oh, you don't feel like it? Oh, tough luck, because I'm going in there. It happened to me now when I had my last baby, where it's like, I'm not sleeping at night. I'm not sleeping, but I'm scheduled to work out at 8 o'clock with Rain. That workout is happening.
Yeah.
I slept 2 hours, no problem. And you know what? I always felt better after the workout, I know? Getting emotional.
Rain shower. Actually, no, I just heard somebody say something that was akin to that, and it was very, very good. I was like, wow, I really like what you did there. She was like, I went out last night and I had gym the next day and I was hungover and I felt like shit and I was tired. So I did cardio. And I was like, great. Like, okay, your body wasn't feeling up to like going hard and lifting and you felt like that wouldn't be great. and you did an hour of cardio.
Still
That's
did something.
fantastic. You went out and did something, and you
Yep.
built the habit. You didn't take that opportunity to be like, I'm gonna stay in bed, which is, let's be honest, way easier.
Yep.
Especially if you're hungover. So I was like, damn, I like that. I like that you assessed it, realized I wasn't feeling, sorry, I'm getting emotional too, wasn't feeling up to it, and I still did something though.
But again, it all falls into mindset. It's like you are the type of person that has determined that no matter what, I'm gonna work out.
This person's also lost like 20 pounds in like 4 months, something like that. So you could tell she's dedicated.
So what do you all think? Did we miss anything? Is there something that maybe a good point that we didn't make, or is there something against this claim that maybe you would say, or for the claim? This is I think this is an interesting discussion to be had. So let's continue it in the comments section.
Yeah, if you guys feel like you know somebody that says exercise isn't for them, or somebody that's completely fallen off the wagon and given up hope on exercising, maybe send them this video. I think we made some convincing points. I think we can help them out, or send them to us. We'll help them out. Either way. We hope you guys enjoyed it. I know a guy that does that. He's a very, very nice guy.
Hasta la próxima.
You guys have any other prompts, any other questions? Talk to us, leave us a comment. This guy's disgusting. As always, the BeFit Brothers are here to help. Hope you enjoyed today's episode, and
hey guys.
Jesus Christ. Stay moving. I don't know what the ending was going to be there.